is. Welcome to Getcha Popcorn Ready podcast. This is your host, Hatch, with my boy.
Yep. The other host is in the building.
In the building.
Get your popcorn ready.
Ready! I like my voice. I've been working on my voice lately.
No,
okay.
Leave that where
Anyway,
it is.
it's all good.
Leave
But,
that where it is.
But right now, we're still talking about next year. That's what we're doing today.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to talk about next year, projected first round in the 2023 NFL Draft. Clark Phillips III is in the building, ladies and gentlemen.
Man, what's good? I appreciate y'all having me, man.
I appreciate you coming by, man. Taking off, the workout schedule, the school schedule. You got a 4.0 in school?
Nah.
You got a 3.99?
I'm in business school, man. It's tough, man. I'm pulling the 3.2 right now.
Okay,
I'm
that's
pulling
what's
the 3.2, and I brag about it to my parents. I'm like, Mom, look at my transcripts. It wasn't always like that in high school. So now I'm grateful that I could, work and. It ain't easy. I got 3 tutors just to pull that. So
3.2 is very respectable.
Yes.
Yeah.
But with 3 tutors, that's still telling yourself, I'm humble enough to make sure I got to work to get this 3.2. There's some people that got 4.0 and like, but it's easy to you.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that tells me something about this young guy right here.
Character.
That he's willing to put in the work. To have extra tutors.
Yes.
You got kids today, they have the access to them and still don't do it.
Still
They
don't.
won't get it.
Like, I'm just going to keep this 2.4.
Right. So that already tells me something about this kid already. Very ambitious.
Yeah.
And, he's looking to do some great things, not only on the field,
Off the
field as well.
And again, that's kind of why we're here today. I know it's early in the process of getting ready for the NFL Draft, but you're projected high next year. You're going into your junior season at Utah with the Utes.
Yep.
And again, playing corner, again, a lot of things are going to happen this season as far as, okay, you're too short, too slow, too whatever. You're going to go up and down, right? Some people are going to say first, second, third round, whatever. Does it really matter where you go in the draft next year?
My goal has always been to, be the first corner taken off the board.
Okay.
And so wherever that lands, we've seen, quarterback slid this year, right? Your first quarterback was taken super late. But my goal is to be the best corner of the class, man. And so I'm doing everything every single day to try and get there. So I guess to answer your question, it really don't matter. Everyone asks me as we get to this process, and I'm sure you all went through it. You want to stay home or you want to go to a team in California.
Well,
I'm like, whoever paying, man.
We didn't have the luxury.
Yeah, we weren't no first.
We weren't top picks or projected like you are. So that tells me, again, about your skill set, your ability, what you're expected to do. Going into this season, I know, like I said, we're talking about the draft. Yeah. Is that something that you feel like is going to be looming, through your head the entire season, or are you just going to focus on what you can control? And like I said, as we talked earlier before we got on the show, again, you're very cerebral. You're already telling me, like, you're walking around the locker room, where are my big guys at? Where my linemen at? Because those guys help you on the back end, because if you got to be back there 8-10 seconds chasing some guys around, that means those guys are not doing what they're doing. That means those big guys up front not doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And like I said, you said, I'm looking for some Polynesians. You're looking for some polys, some big guys to like really disrupt and create some havoc and create some early throws, some bad throws to do what you do is obviously pick sixes, PBUs. Say, going into this season, is this something that's going to be, like I said, looming through your head about projected, where you're going to be projected to be drafted, or you're just going to go in there, you set your personal goals, you got your team goals. Where's your mindset?
So going into the season, man, good question. Like, the biggest thing for me is, like, I have a whole notebook full of notes and full of goals that I, want to accomplish in the spring. I divide everything in the section. So it's spring, it's summer, and then it's fall camp. Nice. And then it's the season. So I've got goals that I aspire to, to accomplish at the end of the season. For example, I want to be an All-American. Not unanimous, all of that stuff. And then I want to be, Thorpe Award winner. These are all, goals that I believe that are reachable, that are all projection, and based on where I could, see myself going. And then I have just specific stat lines. I expect to have 10 picks, just different things. I won't even say them all because, if you were to say your goals, before you did them, people would be like,
supposed to sound crazy.
It's going to sound crazy. So I got the craziest things in my notebook.
Because you can say it because that's called manifestation.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
Manifestation, you know what I mean? So it doesn't matter. Like I said, those are your goals. Whatever you see fit that you feel like you can achieve, then, hey, it can be achievable.
Yeah. So I'm just, I have all of my goals set up and everything. And, what it looked like for me is I'm not focused on none of the outside noise, none of it. My goal is to just be better every single day. And at the end of the season, I want to look back and be like, I put some good stuff on film. Now we're going to see where it lands.
Absolutely.
And so, but I even was telling my parents, I'm like, 'cause, they get excited. Everyone gets excited throughout the process. And I'm like, none of that stuff, I'm not hearing none of it. It's exciting to look at every now and again, but I'm like, you know what? I got a whole nother season to play. Could be 2 more seasons, if it's not looking the right way. So I'm like, my focus is on this game, this receiver, and right now it's the summer. I'm focused on this next conditioning workout, June 1, with the team, with the facility. How can I, better myself in this area? So to answer your question, we'll be, focused on that stuff, but really it's just gonna be in the season, in the moment. I find I play better when it's that way.
That's what's up. So, and again, you went to La Habra High School,
Yeah.
right, out here in Los Angeles. One of my other young fellas, Ryan Zanelli, played with you.
That's
Shout
my
out
guy.
to Z,
RZ10.
Ryan Z, QB. And again, I know I got to see you when you were like sophomore, junior in high school, right? You were about 5'6", 5'7". You grew like 3-4 inches over these last 4 or 5 years, which is great. But tell some kids out there who are going through the process now, like,
I wish I would see a 5'6" toy going on.
what you gonna do with it?
I wish I would see a 5'6" toy
About that now.
But because some kids out there, they get frustrated, like, well, I'm not ready today. Like, these kids are in 8th and 9th grade. They think they're ready for the NFL job. Like, you don't have to be ready for D1 today. You don't have to be ready for the NFL draft today. You have to continue to work and go through this process. So tell through this process, the last 4 or 5 years, on the work that you've done to kind of get ready, and then you've created your own growth, if you will, in the sport.
For me and my family, I mentioned earlier, just kind of, separate everything into sections. That was something that my dad instilled in me, just trying to make sure that every single spring, every single off season, there was a goal for every 2 weeks, every month. The goal isn't just to, so if, the goal was to get down to a 4.40 in high school, it wasn't like, okay, I'm coming from 4.7 to 4.4 in next week. It was like, okay, this month we're gonna focus CP on building explosion. We got to work on strength. I don't think you got the posterior chain muscles that are gonna allow you to do that. Then it was flexibility, and then it was like, okay, now we got to get the cardio right. When it was in track season, it was the same way, trying to focus on different things to incrementally see gains. And so, if I could encourage anybody that's going through the process, or maybe even younger, I would just say, man, stay the course and focus on one thing at a time, and then you're gonna see, big dividends, and results at the end.
Absolutely. So, another Cali corner, Elias Ricks, is also projected to go high, your buddy, right? So again, you guys are 2 total different body types, right? He's 6'2", long, right? You're 5'10", 5'11". And so, again, the Eagles will want a certain body type, and the Bengals want another certain body type. So knowing that, does it frustrate you at all if Elias ends up going higher, or taller corners go higher, or you go higher, right? You understand it's not really up to you. It's kind of what they're looking for.
Yeah, and we understand, teams are going to like who they like, just like in the recruiting process, I was, me and Elias were both blessed to be super highly touted and super highly recruited. So even with that, we both had, 40, 50-plus offers. There were still teams that would prefer, hey, I want the longer corner. There's teams that would prefer, hey, man, I want that guy because I can move him in the slot, too. He can cover the Jalen Waddle. He can cover all of those, the guys like that. And so, I guess this is a preference, game, and, whoever. I tell people, whoever's going to come and pay, whoever's going to use me to the best of my skill set, you know, and whoever's going to put me in a situation where I can, because I wouldn't want to go to a team, truthfully, where, I, maybe won't be able to display my talents, or I don't fit the scheme.
Right. What do you think is your best attribute as far as a corner, as far as a physical attribute, right? Press, physicality, route recognition. What do you think it is for you?
I'm a cerebral player. I pride myself on studying a lot of film, so I usually know everything about the receiver, everything about the formation, every possibility before the route, before the play. And so I go in. My coach always was telling me, when I first got into college, his biggest thing was like, take something to the party. You can't come to the club empty-handed. You can't come to the party empty-handed.
You got to bring something.
You got to bring something. And so his biggest thing was, we're watching film. When I was learning, I thought I knew how to watch film in high school, side note, but I didn't know how to watch no film. Got up into college, and he this is what you're looking for. I'm like, wow.
And who showed you that?
Coach Sharif Shaw.
Okay.
Yeah,
there it is.
So
shout out to Coach Shaw.
Yeah, shout out to Coach Shaw. We spent hours and hours preparing for my first season, even in the off season. He you got to take something to the party, son. You may not see it. You may not see nothing that you brought. You may not see nothing, that anybody else is going to give you. He's like, but you got to take something, bro. And so every single game preparing for it, I'm always thinking, okay, what can I take to this formation? So
what
every
did
time.
What did you realize or notice that you thought you knew in high school, and then you got to college that you thought you knew, but you really didn't know?
Man, day one in that film room. So I was an early enrollee in the college.
And went to
so,
Ohio State out of high school here.
Yeah, I was gonna. So I was committed to Ohio State. Then I ended up going to Utah. And like my first week on campus in Utah, man, me and Coach Shaw, like while everybody was out, trying to figure it out, and everyone was trying to kind of get adjusted and moving in and stuff. I had, bags of stuff inside of my dorm room. I didn't unpack, didn't nothing. I'm already in the facility every single day watching film with Coach Shaw. He, just got back from the Alamo Bowl game, and we were just sitting in there hours and hours every single day. Some days I wouldn't even eat breakfast. I'm just sitting up in there, Coach, where you at? He like, son, I just got to, I slept at the facility.
I need you here with me right now.
You beat him to the facility.
Yeah, he like,
sir.
son, I slept at the facility or whatever because we was out late last night with the coaches doing whatever, just had a dinner, and he like, where you at, son? He would come in there 5 minutes later, and we'd be there the whole day, And mind you, this is the time where my parents were still getting used to it. They was, out there for a little bit. Then they went back home. And so then, of course, my mom is texting me like, what you doing? Like, how's college going? And, I'm telling my mom, I'm having a good time. I went out to hang out with my friends because that's what parents want to hear. Okay, you're balancing. You're going out, having a good time. You got school. And I'm, truthfully, the first month, I'm sitting in there every single day with Coach Shaw trying to discuss how I'm going to get on this field.
That's awesome.
Oh, wow.
And trying to understand everything.
That's crazy.
Because I'm like, Coach, I didn't come up here early to just not play. You know? Came up here.
Many kids.
99% of the kids do
Man.
not do that. You know what I'm saying?
You talk about being head and shoulders above a lot of kids.
Yeah.
I mean, this is I'm excited. I'm gonna become a Utah U fan. I'm gonna
Get you a jersey.
Get him a jersey.
You ready?
Get
Wear
you
a
a
jersey.
game next year,
Hey
man.
Hey, I'm about to get my popcorn ready. I really want to see what this kid got. I mean, like I said, just listening to you talk, I can tell the excitement in your voice. You're looking like he talks as if he's an offensive player. Like, listening to him talk, you would think
sound
that
like
he's-
one of us.
Right,
Yeah,
you would
yeah.
think he's an offensive player, but to have that type of mindset, especially on the defensive end, this is what coaches
Are looking
want.
for.
This is what
Absolutely.
they like. I mean, I already know, like him going through the draft process, and they have the interviews with the coaches.
Yeah.
This is when I guarantee you we're gonna hear Mel Kiper and these guys like, yo, just talking to him, he stands out.
His
You know what I mean?
character,
It's gonna just pop off the chart. So man,
I appreciate
I
that.
know, man. I'm looking forward to what you got going on. Just to kind of piggyback on what he's saying, he asked you about, what skill sets, what do you feel like you bring to the table? With that being said, like he mentioned, one of your homies, Elias Ricks.
Nice, yeah.
Do you know the top corners that are potentially projected as you are? And if you do, what do you feel like you offer different than those guys? Obviously, it's going to be predicated on what a team needs, but what is it about you and your skill set and amongst your defensive, peers, defensive DB peers that sets you apart?
Good question. I know like there's a, pretty much a list that's pretty consistent with everyone's, top guys in the 2023 class. I can think of, guys like Keely. I think about, Keely Ringo at Georgia. He had a pick in the national championship.
Yep.
I think about Elias. We've kind of been battling since the moment we stepped foot on high school grounds. It was always, Clark and Elias everywhere that we went. We went to, short story, we went to Prime 21, the Deion Sanders camp. We both went down to Texas. I think it was Texas. Yeah, went down to Texas, and we both showed up, and we basically shut down the whole camp. I ended up getting MVP, so Elias,
There it
you
is.
listening to this. But we go back and forth.
Hey, Ricks, what's up? He got the
we be going back and forth,
MVP.
man. But we both went to camps, and at times we both showed out. There was times where he, took the crown, and times where I took the crown. At the opening, he did a great job. We both did a great job. But and so I think about guys like that. Think about Keely, him, and then I also think about even guys that are in other situations. I think about Joey Porter. He's at Penn State.
Yep.
Another longer corner. And so, to answer your question, I feel like I can differentiate myself by just the above the shoulders that you just mentioned. The above the shoulders, me understanding, and then just like the grit and the toughness piece. I feel like at all times I'm the meanest on the field. The meanest, and it's going to be consistent. I'm going to be the same dude
Can you
every
tackle?
play.
I mean, I know a lot of DBs, they get labeled for being soft. They can't really tackle. They just like to get the INT.
He gonna put a hat on you.
Osleys,
He gonna put a hat on you.
Yeah, I want to more than tackle. I want to make you feel it every time.
Oh, okay.
I want to make you feel it. now.
Because the receivers at the next level is like 220, 225.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, they bringing it now. They ain't they ain't no string beans.
And not that bench is a big thing or all the weightlifting and stuff, But I noticed that a lot of guys don't do that at the combine, man. And so I'm like, dang, you know, I came in as a freshman doing a hell of a lot of weight, man. And testament to my dad and his training program made me just super mentally tough, made me super strong, you know, in the weight room and things. And so I can't wait to show that. But at the same time, nah, man, I look forward to it. And I love, you know, going into the game, and that's why I love going against bigger receivers, because I feel like that's where I thrive. That's where I can be physical, and it ain't too much crying and, you know, why he pushing me.
Right,
You know,
right,
so
right.
we on the same level because, hey, this is what I like to do. I like to, you know, kind of go at
Man,
guys.
I've listened to you so many times, man, and you always reference your family. You got your dad here today.
Clark Phillips Jr. is in the building as well.
what honestly, like, you know, that man, it gives me chills to hear you talk about your relationship with your dad. Like, I didn't have that, you know, growing up. You know what I mean? And I have a son, so I try to have somewhat of a relationship with him. Tell us a little about your dad and what he means to you.
Everything, man. From the moment that I could remember, like early on in the process, my dad's always been the one that encourages, pushes, knows when to pull back, knows when to motivate, knows when to be that soft word, a soft opinion. My dad has always had an incredible ability to read the situation. You know, when I can think about times where I was in high school, or, you know, times when I was even in middle school, and he would see me, you know, and see I was working all these things, but he like, you know, something not right. And so I would get, you know, he'd come in my room, whether it was before I go to sleep or in the morning. What's going on? How's everything going with life? And I know I'm like, dang, what did I do wrong? You know, I'm like,
Why you in
trying
here?
to figure out what's going on. And so, but my dad's ability, and I think it's from being in a corporate setting, his ability to read the situation, to read, you know, emotion, gesture, all of that stuff was super special, because I just look at it that way, because his ability to do that with me and my brother had to be completely different angles.
Yeah,
my
very
personality is
true.
different from my brother. He's a little bit more laid back, little brother personality.
Chill, huh?
Yeah. And me, I'm gonna say how it is, and I'm more, you know, talkative. Me and my dad would talk for hours. You know, we talked on the way up here, 45 minutes the whole time.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and so
Wow,
not one
awesome.
breath, not no take a breather. No.
Right.
No
Just the
dull
whole
moment
time.
in the car.
Yeah, you know, and so, you know, to all in all, man, my dad has been super, you know, I'm super grateful for him, and, you know, super great throughout the process, just because, like, he's developed me into the man I am today. And I feel like some of the things I learned early on in the process, like just the ability to go to work and just work super hard, day in and day out, whatever that is. My dad has went from, at times, being in a job setting where we were super comfortable, to at times where, like, it wasn't the best situation, but we didn't notice it in the house.
Right.
Me and my brother didn't notice none of it. It was just like, I'm gonna go to work and I'm gonna do this and that, and we're gonna figure it out. And not one time did he ever put that stress on us or that weight on us. And so some of those things, you know, just characteristics that I feel like you take for granted, even when you're young. Later on, you're like, dang, it always seemed like stuff was straight.
Yeah.
Didn't realize that we were struggling at that time.
Absolutely.
Because nothing changed with us, you know. And so I think, yeah, man, Pops has taught me so much and still teaching me stuff every single day.
Absolutely.
I call Dad. I'm like, dang, I didn't know you knew all of that. I'm like, he'll say something.
Yeah, obviously now, like I said, you've kind of shared with us your upbringing and what he's meant to you, and how has it been? You know, obviously as you've grown up, the competitiveness.
Yeah.
I know, like I said, at some point you sizing up your dad as you grow up. Now you're bigger than Dad. You know what I mean? How was the competition growing up? I know
Man.
you got brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
How was that with them? And then, but obviously, like I said, you speaking so highly of your dad. How was that? And I know at some point, I'm sure as all dads, at some point,
Somebody go lose one-on-one.
Yeah, they gotta realize
Somebody go lose in one-on-one.
Exactly.
Man, it's a weird. So it's funny you say that, because we have an interesting dynamic in our house, man. Like, so because it is 3 men, so now it's me, my little brother, who's my little big brother. He's taller than I am.
Right.
So it's weird. Like the younger
longer,
we are,
the younger they are, the
it's
taller they
weird.
grow.
So I passed my dad up, and I was the happiest kid alive. You know, even when we became eye to eye, I think it was my 8th grade year. He'll probably know the exact day.
8th grade.
You passed him up in 8th grade,
I think
huh?
8th or 9th grade, we were about the same. Maybe in my eyes, you know how when you're shorter than somebody, you feel like, damn, we up there now. You're looking eye to eye, you think that you're taller.
Right, then
Maybe
if
it was
you're not,
that.
you're
but
kinda raising that head up
so,
and looking like, "Hey,
I remember
Pops."
just thinking like, dang, I'm super tall, and then going into my first year of high school and realized like, dang, I'm the shortest one on campus. And I just thought like, oh, I'm taller than Pops, you know, I'm grown.
That's
now,
all
I'm
that
tall,
matter.
You know?
Right,
and so now the competition piece of it, like I've always, in my mind, I've always been like, damn, I want to be as strong as my dad. My dad, power lifted, he competed and stuff, when he was in his early 20s. And so I've always, seen that as like a far goal. And so being a corner is weird because most corners are not strong and things of that nature. So my goal has always been to be like that different corner and be super strong. And, strength comes easier in our family because of my dad. We have the genetics and things. And so in a way, yeah. Now, I've never I can't say I've never. I was growing and stuff, but in terms of like really sizing up my dad, not even dad still now, I always look at him like big
like,
homie
that's
got
dad.
that. That's dad still, like no matter what.
Right.
I'm, two inches taller than my dad and stuff. But nah, that dude, he'll be super modest about it. But he can still do like 500 pounds on bench.
Oh, yeah, okay, okay.
People never ever get there.
Yeah,
and
never
like,
no, you ain't never gonna get to 500.
I'm like, Dad, you got that.
You can have that. You can
you
have
got
that.
I'm just gonna be a corner and be super strong for corners.
Right.
We
don't want to leave moms out. We don't want to leave moms
You
out.
can't do that.
What
Mother's
about
Day
moms?
just passed,
Is she more athletic than your
so
dad?
my mother, she graduated from UCLA. She ran track.
She's more athletic than you.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Don't say that to Pops. I don't know.
So you got the kind of like the size from Pops.
Yeah.
And then the
speed from moms. Huh?
Yeah,
He
that's
don't
what it
really
sounds like.
He don't really hate
That's what it
that.
sounds like. Hey,
You set the table for us. You set the table for us.
He like, man, give me a mic. Nah.
right.
You got to
But,
rebuttal.
man, I guess we could go with that. I'll say that they both had speed.
Yeah.
My mother, though, I will say that she was a track athlete. And she's really, I think I get a lot of the cerebralness from both of them. Like me being able to understand certain things. And then the commitment. My mom, she doesn't talk about it much, but she was super, driven with school. Like she's been kind of the enforcing factor with me and my little brother in terms of academics. And early on, when we both, she would get so frustrated. Kids act like, I don't like school. I'm just doing it so I can get to the NFL.
You gonna like it.
And I remember, a lot of the conversation, when you're young is like, okay, when you're rebelling, you try to rebel. Mom, I'm not gonna go to college. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do that. And when I get out of the house, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna make money.
I wish you would.
And she's like, okay. She's like, in order to be in my house, you better be in school or you're working. And so those conversations only lasted probably even before high school. Because we realized that, dang, I want to really do this thing. And, you start to get a couple of offers like, wow, this is cool. Like, okay, I really want to go to college and I really want to go dominate. And then it was like the dreams get bigger and bigger. But now, sum it up, my mom, man, she was a big factor in just us understanding the importance of school, us understanding the importance of it, even beyond ball. Because that's something that I feel like gets forgotten in this process. Because guys have big goals of, going to the NFL. Guys have big goals of, or can't even really look past the collegiate aspect of it. Because you kind of get stuck in the moment. And I feel like if you understand what it's going to yield afterwards and the relationships and even past, just having a degree, I feel like that's where my mother and my dad, they've always, preached at us like, it's even bigger than all of that
It's
you
bigger
see right
than all
now.
that.
I'm like, wow. And so now getting in it, you're like, wow. Because I meet people, at internships and at different things. I'm like, wow, okay. That wouldn't have happened if I wasn't here.
Absolutely. So again, like you stayed at La Habra High School here in Los Angeles, or outside of Los Angeles. But again, during that time, every kid in the world is transferring to modern day Bosco, right? You stayed at a smaller high school. You still was committed to Ohio State, still had 40, 50 offers. Like, what made you stay? Because, of course, we knew everybody was probably calling and saying, this is a better situation, better spot. It's not about that, obviously. It's about, preparing for the next level, not where you play high school. So what made you stay? And, was it more like the character or just, the fit or the friends, that was at La Habra?
And my dad could probably tell you stories of all the calls that we was getting after my first, season at La Habra, which I was a sophomore. But for us, it was more than just going to clout chase or going to be at the big program, all of that stuff. We were never ever afraid of being way makers. We were never afraid of, in a way, being paving the way. Paving the way, and we never really cared about the outside noise of people saying this, people saying that. Dang, man, you could have so much hype if you went here. It was just about getting out and doing what I needed to do to get to the next level. And so we felt like we had every single opportunity that we needed at this place. We were playing against programs, and we knew that. My dad just told me early on, like, dude, if you're gonna go to a smaller school, you got to dominate. Deal.
I'll dominate.
One of the biggest reasons why we actually went there, because we went to St. John Bosco my first year, freshman year. I was on the team with DJ, Chris Hudson, all of these dudes, that are now. I mean, I can look at it. We had first team. We had 2 freshman teams.
Yeah, I know.
I was on the first one. We were all of us on that roster, from the one deep to 2 deep, are all D1 programs right now, or in the league. And so, all D1 programs, and some of them are D2, but like everyone's on a collegiate roster. And so it's just crazy to look back at that. But I ended up basically, the reason why we ended up going was, one of the biggest reasons was because of my little brother. We wanted to go to a program where both of us could, play together. Private schools, you got to pay monthly. They have, different accommodations that they make for families that they really want and things. And it's super expensive to have 2 that go. And so,
Absolutely.
With the situation, me and my little brother, we really wanted to play together. I was like, man, so when my parents basically told us, like, what do you guys want to do? I'm like, without a doubt, I'm playing with my little brother. I'm not going to do the separate high school thing. I was grateful for it. Phillips and Phillips dream come true my junior year.
Yep, that's right.
Wow.
At corner.
That's awesome.
That's
right.
great. I was reading through your bio. I don't really know the difference. Like I said, corners, like some guys play right, some guys play left. You know what I mean? Let me know what is the difference? Because as a receiver, we
go both sides.
Right, we have to line up on.
Well, it's because
either
receivers
side.
are better athletes. That's why.
That's typically. But go ahead.
Let
We'll
me
give
ask
him
you
an
this.
answer.
So if y'all the better athletes, we got to cover the better athletes going backwards. What that make us?
The second best
Slow.
athlete.
How slow? Yeah.
The second best athlete. That's all. You can put whatever spin you want on it. It don't matter.
I will agree. Y'all have a lot of pressure on you guys. You got a lot to react to, and like I said, running backwards, that's not an easy feat. You know what I mean?
Right,
Especially to keep some guys in front of you.
You
but
know.
I just don't understand. Like some guys are more equipped and comfortable playing on the right. Some guys better on the left. What is your preference, and what is sort of like what's the difference? Tell us the difference in the audience. Like, what's the difference?
So, man, honestly, I play both.
Okay.
But I didn't understand until I got to college, like, why guys feel more comfortable until I got to college. Because I played mostly, like, left corner my first year. No, a lot of right corner my first 5 years. Then I played left for some reason. I don't know why the switch happened, but I think it was just, like, it depends on what I do mostly in spring ball or fall camp.
Okay.
And it's crazy, but it makes perfect sense now because I'm like, damn, I couldn't put my hand on it. But I think it's just brake mechanics, different things. And then also one of the bigger reasons is, like, I want to cover the best guy. And a lot of the times, depending on, what
System.
Formation.
formation, a lot of the times the best receiver be on the right side. And
Because most offensive coordinators are right-handed.
Right.
yeah,
I guess
and,
so, yeah,
and then the
suppose.
quarterbacks, if they're right-handed, they want to throw. And so I think that has a lot to do with it. But really, like, for me, I think I played a lot of left corner last year just because, I feel like that left foot just got super strong, just breaking, every single time. Unless it's a comeback or a fade, I was breaking off the left foot, all in breaking routes, all left side. So I think that's what I did notice, And, I'm like, dang, I didn't realize it until you get into, a season or after season. I'm like, dang. Or no, in the bowl game, I was, we have a whole week, prior to bowl games to practice and to train. And I was telling myself, because we didn't know who was going to play. So Chris Olave and we had Garrett Wilson. We didn't know who was going to play. They had an assignment for me. They ended up opting. But during that whole week, I was like, okay, I'm going to try to play both just in case I have to follow the assignment and he's moving around. I don't want to go to the right side, or if they know that I don't play any right, they just go to the opposite side or go to the left side and my right, and I'm all jacked up.
So again, let's go back and talk about again when you was preparing for Ohio State, the Rose Bowl, right? Your big game, big breakout game for some big time national attention for you at the position. Again, you went against Wilson and Olave, London, Drake at USC. So you kind of seen the best, but go back and kind of give us like your take since you played them at the end, right? And you had played against Drake already, Kyle Phillips already. How did that game compare getting ready as far as what you already seen in the pack that year?
So going back to it, that whole week of preparation, so really we had like a whole month off. So after our, championship game, we had, some time as a little break, and we all met up in California because that's where the game was going to be at. And during that time, we had the whole week basically of just training, practices, just the LA experience. We were down in LA and guys, are having a good time and everything. And, we won't even get into that.
Right.
But I was just like, man, for me, I was looking at it just as a way I'm like, this is going to be the game that puts me on the map because I'm like, this is the time that I get to go and guard all those receivers.
Yeah.
They hadn't even decided, like Chris Olave, Garrett, they hadn't even decided if they were going to play or not.
Right.
And so I was like, man, I'm praying that every single day that they did, I'm
They
like,
better play.
I need this.
Yeah,
I need
yeah.
this. And so they ended up not playing. Jackson Smith was
Jigbo,
the guy that
right?
did play.
Yep, that's right,
He's
that's
the guy
right.
that did play, and that was the a new up and coming guy. And so I'm studying all of them, throughout the thing. And so it was good though because I was able to self scout during that time too, and because this was a game that we had so much time to prepare. Even before we got into that film study a week before the game, I was already kind of watching those guys, and then I was self scouting a lot too to see what they were going to try to attack on me.
Right.
I'm like, okay, this is an explosive offense. They had a Heisman finalist at quarterback.
Yep.
I'm like, what are they going to try to do to me?
Right,
And so, I was looking up different things, that I was doing, different things that I've showed on film. And so I was able to play off of that in the game as well.
So you had a pick and a fumble recover,
Yeah.
right, in the game. So was those one of the plays that you prepared in film study? Like, yo, when they run this, I'm fitting to pick this thing. And it happened?
Yeah. So I usually try to go into the game with like a couple of different things that I'm planning on stealing. Like I'll put an asterisk by it, in my notes, like this is my steal. This near doubles formation, when the running back decide to leave, like it was a couple of things that I'm like, oh yeah, if they do this here, it's bad for them.
Right.
I usually just show the quarterback something different because they'll usually have those things and they'll have their key, routes and key receivers that they're keying on throwing it to during that play, based on my positioning, based on the safety's positioning. And so I showed him exactly what he wanted to see. So for example, I was studying C.J. Stroud before the game. About 3 days before the game, we all had interviews with me, Devin, and then a couple of the captains. We had interviews. They also had interviews. I looked up C.J. Stroud's interviews, Jackson Smith's interviews. Of course, they're asking him.
Yeah.
They're asking Jackson, "What are you excited about the matchup against Clark? Just found out that your two older receivers, veteran receivers, are going to sit." And he's like, I feel good about it. He's a good player. He's real complimentary. He didn't really want to get into it. I was looking for some ammo. I was looking for something to turn me up. Didn't find nothing with him. Found something with CJ. They asked CJ, what do you guys plan on doing to Clark or whatever? And he was like, oh, nah, he's a great player. I know him from the city or whatever. He was like, but dude is real jumpy. He likes to jump quick routes. So I took that note.
Right, there it
I'm
is.
like,
Take the note.
double move.
Yep.
Ended up getting a pick on a double move.
There it is.
Because they did a stop and go. I'm in cover 3. Receiver, tries to get in my blind spot. He does the stutter. I'm looking at him. I see the pump before the stutter happens. I'm like, come on, man, don't throw this. 6'3", 6'5". I'm like, man, let's throw it. Let's play. So I cut him off and,
There it is.
This is crazy. Just the recognition and just the study habits.
Yeah.
Like I said, dude, if I'm a GM, I'm signing him regardless. He's the first thing coming off the board.
Because the mental aspect. Because that's what's hard
Bro,
to
he's
find.
already ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Man, this is amazing. I mean, just listening to you talk. I mean, obviously you're putting in a lot of work, but as I mentioned to and I alluded to earlier, you've talked about family. Your dad he's done a great job with preparing you with the way he grew up, the way he's prepared the family. Man, this is just, I mean, bro, this is awesome to listen to. Like, it gives me chills just to, he doesn't seem like
How old are you, 21?
This doesn't make any sense.
You're 20?
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense.
I'll be 21 in December. I still got a little ways. I'll be able to hang on to that. I'm still young, man.
Dude, what 20-year-old is talking like this, dude? Like, I'm already knowing, like, if football doesn't work out, which we know it will, dude, this dude's going to be a defensive coordinator. He's going to be a coach somewhere.
Yeah.
But we're going to get you on there. We're going to make you,
First, you go get on the
We're
field.
going to manifest it right now, dog. We're going to make that money first. Man, I am excited about this guy right here. Man, I'm telling you.
That's young, too.
Man, bro,
so you'll be a 21-year-old rookie next year.
They won't be able to say, he's an older prospect.
Right,
I was seeing this year a lot of
Dude, I rarely watched the draft. I mean, I've never really watched it. I mean, other than, like I said, when I was, in the draft myself. That was back in '96. Wow. You wouldn't even thought about it.
You ain't lying.
But I'm just saying, I'm being the first round.
We might come to your draft party,
Man,
buddy.
I'm excited, just excited as your family is for you, man. Like I said, dude, you have, I mean, not only just the intangible, like I said, I haven't seen you play, but listening to that, how you think, your mindset. Yeah. Obviously, like I said, you have the drive. There's nothing about you that says you're lacking in anything. Like this, right. I haven't heard any weaknesses. Like you're ahead of the game.
What is your weaknesses?
Yeah, what? Yeah,
What do you
exactly. I haven't
think your
heard any
weaknesses
weaknesses.
are?
You know, I'd say perceived weaknesses. I don't think I have any, but when I go to film study, I like to study things that maybe I've displayed. Of course, personally, I'm like, I don't think I got no weaknesses, but I can see things that show up on film consistently and say, gotta work on that. You know, but perceived weakness, maybe height. You know, that's what
That's
they're saying.
it. Somebody, if somebody thinks that's a weakness,
right?
Because Darryl Green does not think that's a weakness, right? Hall of
that's
Famer
true.
with the Washington
That's the
Redskins,
truth.
played 20
But
years. Right?
That's something that we see consistently, and we see people. Yeah, he's just he's not a 6-foot corner because that's the lucky number and that's the magic number. But
as you guys
for me,
know, everybody in the NFL, they don't have a lot of 6-foot corners. Just so you guys know this information.
Facts.
You might think that, but it doesn't
There's a
happen
few
like that.
out there.
There's a few.
You're Richard Sherman.
Yeah, 6'1", 6'2",
Yeah.
6'3" is very hard to
Brandon
find.
Brown.
Very hard to find.
But yeah, that's a good question. So if I'm a GM or a scout or whatever, of any team, what do you think they will think your weaknesses are besides your
Besides the
physical?
height.
Besides
height.
You're right. I mean, your measurables. That's something like said. That it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You ain't waking up tomorrow and you're 6 feet. If it happens, that's
Yeah.
great. But what do you think?
We see. I'll bring this up. So we see Florida week 1. I can't give them no bulletin board material.
Yeah.
But I will say that I feel like if a scout were to look at me and try to figure out some things, I feel like they would say I could be a lot better in my zones. That was something that I focused on this season. Being a lot better in cover 3, cover 4. I've always prided myself on being a man coverage corner, locking down the man in front of me. So I feel like that's somewhere where I'm growing. I played a little bit of zone in high school and things of that nature. But I feel like that's an area in my game, especially with the way that the passing league is going now and the next level and in the league. I feel like that's somewhere where all corners can grow. So I feel like that's somewhere where I want to be the best at.
Right. Now, do you imagine yourself being a corner to go inside and out?
Yeah. And that's another thing, I want to make sure that there is no drop off when I were to go on the inside.
Right.
I have more film on the outside than the slot.
Right.
Of
Which
course,
is fine for now, but over time.
But over time, I want to be able to show my versatility and show that, hey, I can be the best on the inside and the outside, and I can follow no matter where he goes. Because I see, with guys like Devontae Adams, and I see guys like that.
Oh, they going inside.
When they go to the inside, sometimes
superstars go do both.
Facts. Sometimes that number 1 corner, he don't want to go in there because, hey, I'm not covering in the slot.
Right.
Because
he
got a two-way go. And
right.
the guys won't do that. And so I want to be that guy that is like, okay, this dude can go inside and outside. He's our best corner. And, he's willing to go in the slot with DT, with this dude, with that dude. And it's
so
not
you
like...
want to be on the opposite side of the field. You want to be like the receiver that's able to be...
That can do everything.
That can travel.
I'm cool with running across the middle. I'm cool with doing all that. Like how valuable it is for a receiver to be able to run that quick slant. Not just the fader, not just the intermediate route, but run everything. And so, that's my goal, man. And, for me, I feel like if there was any weakness, it would probably be somewhere in the nickel.
Okay.
Probably
because you haven't learned it yet.
I haven't
really
mastered that. I've played, 4 games in total, all exclusive nickel. So, and that's of 19 games.
That's what's up.
I want to, continue to, kind of show that, and I feel like I can show that a lot of that skill set on the outside too, because we run a lot of zone, we run a lot of man, but I feel like I can show a lot of that on the outside. It doesn't have to be exclusively nickel, but that's an area that I do want to grow in and want to show it, because I know that the league, a lot of guys are, looked at as nickel corners. I think about Trent McDuffie. A lot of teams were, saying, oh yeah, we like him at nickel and stuff. But he hadn't really even played that even in college.
Right.
It was just all projection. He has a couple of games where he's moved on the inside, but primarily outside corner. So I feel like that's an area where I want to differentiate myself, even from the pack.
Right.
You guys asked earlier about, the pack and about the guys that I'm competing with and the guys that how do I separate myself? And I feel like that's one of the biggest things too. A lot of those,
So if you have Florida week 1, right? They go have some dogs. Who's on the list? I know you got a list as a corner, right? You trying to check off. I'm gonna see him at Florida. I'm gonna see him.
Justin Shorter.
Shorter. Yep.
Justin Shorter. So he's I've been telling my dad and my little brother, he's like the DK Metcalf.
Yeah, he's 6'4", 210, and can run. Had him at the Nike opening. So we saw him up close and personal.
So he's a good size, Yep. And I won't say anything that,
No bulletin board, no early bulletin board.
But is he gonna give you 120 and 2 tubs?
Yeah, nah.
Okay.
Nah.
All right.
I think he has limitations. I won't even give him nothing to work on this offseason, but he has limitations.
Okay.
But I'm excited about the matchup. I think something that he does well and is he blocks really well. A lot of receivers don't take pride in that. I covered some first rounders last year that don't take pride in that. You
Okay.
know? And so he does really, really well in that area. And he takes pride in it. Like I seen him, tussling and throwing dudes around. I seen him, kind of get a couple of flags because he takes it serious, even more than catching the ball at times.
Right.
It was
Okay,
games,
wow.
4 games straight last season where he didn't touch the ball. He
Right.
got reverses and sweeps and stuff, but every single time he had an opportunity to block, he's wrestling.
Yeah.
This is WWE
Taking it
to
serious.
him.
Okay.
And so, that's something that I think that he does really well. Of course, that's not the full game, but leading up to that game, of course, I'm gonna be in there getting a couple extra curls.
There you go.
So that I
Get
can
your-
make
get your
sure
pump
I
on.
can Get, just
your
to sort of
pump on.
off my chest. But he's a good dude, though. I think I've been studying a couple of things on his film. I think he runs really good.
Okay. So you guys,
long routes.
I know that you'll play USC this year.
Yeah, I
There's
think
a-
week
Before we go to
6 or week
USC,
7.
Before we
Okay.
go to USC, you mentioned Florida. I know you got your eyes on your big guy. I will be working out with a guy this summer, Daniel Cross. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's about 6 feet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A little rangy guy, but I know he's ambitious. He's kind of like you. He wants to kind of learn. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I know he's reached out to me like, yo, I want to run some routes with you this summer.
Okay.
Blah blah blah. blah. Number 33. So
Okay.
He's look out
So
for
let's
him.
find out, huh? He's like, let's find out.
Look out for him as well. So
Yeah.
I know he got a little burn last year, what have you. So he's starting to kind of get his feet wet. And
Okay.
so did a little photo shoot with it. But
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah, he's looking. He's
Shout
he's
out
on
to
the
Cross.
rise. Yeah, Daniel Cross. He's on the rise too. He's one of those guys that's hungry, just that wants to get better.
I like that.
Yep.
I like that.
And it seems like you pay attention to what's going on in college football. So USC might be getting a dude by the name of Addison, Jordan Addison, is it?
Yeah.
Are you hoping that he kind of comes to SC so you can get that matchup with him, or you're like, I'll catch him down the line somewhere?
For me, like SC, they always have a couple of good receivers.
Right.
Man,
Gary
right.
Bryant,
Every
he's
single
coming this
year,
year.
all-
Every year they're gonna have somebody for
Absolutely.
me, and so my focus is really like on whoever they got now. I heard he's already decided. I'm not sure if it's real. I know he's been kind of playing with this free agency thing for a little
Yeah, I
while.
know, right?
But I thought it was Texas or something. Who knows? Maybe
Who
that
knows?
was
Who knows?
stunt or whatever. But who knows? But if he go there and shoot,
Don't matter.
hey,
yeah.
that's more eyeballs to watch me lock down.
There it is. I love it. I love
I'm
it.
excited. I'm excited for whoever they got. I know they got like 10 different transfer receivers that
Yeah,
are all
yeah.
big name guys. So I'm like, that's gonna bring more eyeballs to come see them get strapped.
There it
And
is.
So
I
I'm
love
excited. I'm excited to see what they got but every single year, we talk about it and everybody like, man, y'all ready for SC? They always seem to have Utah number. This year we got them, but they had a great receiver. Every
Right,
year
right.
they got a great receiver.
Yeah,
Whether
that's
it's
true.
a slot, outside. So
That's true.
It's always good too, going into that game and studying that receiver and then going against him too, because I'm like, I grow in every single time I play SC. My first ever collegiate game was against SC.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
and I struggled. Like, it was my first ever, and that
Was
game.
it like just overwhelming, deer in headlights? You just never
And
been
to be
in-
completely transparent, it was, but really it was a lot of other, external factors. You talk about like off the field things. So I had just gotten COVID. This was around COVID time.
The COVID
so I
year,
had
right.
got COVID. I had 4 days of conditioning for that game. Mind you, I had lung problems and all of this stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I couldn't really breathe.
Conditioning,
The first time, so
endurance.
I didn't leave the hotel for 14 to 15 days.
Wow.
This was early on when they said 14
real
days.
quarantine.
Yeah, the real
Yeah.
quarantine. And so when I got out, just to put it all in perspective, I went straight to the facility. The coaches were looking at me and stuff. They're like, "What the heck happened, son?" I had lost like 10 or 11 pounds.
Yeah, I was about to say,
and
looking
this is
skinny.
5 days before we're supposed to play against SC. Coach
Yeah.
Shaw like, "Son, you playing in this game. You're my best corner. Like, go in there and get you some potatoes." I pulled up.
Yeah,
and-
yeah,
'cause
go-
we have,
Get some
in the
water in the
college
IV,
facility,
keep it
in the
moving.
college facility, they feed us and stuff. They give us 3
They
meals a
go in there
day.
and get some potatoes.
And I got out, in the morning. I went and got my hair cut because I'm looking like a wolf. I had,
Yeah, the whole
Afro
14
samurai,
days, yeah.
like side stash on my face. And
X-Men.
I was looking bad, And on top of that, he was like, he touched on he was like, I feel straight bones, son. And,
Yeah.
and mind you, I was 190 pounds, my first year. And I had dropped down to like 180 or 179,
Yeah.
And I thought I was eating stuff, but I couldn't taste. I had the
Right, yeah.
extreme
Oh,
fatigue.
I was
I
the
was
same
sleeping
way.
and stuff. So I'm like, dang, what's going on? And so when I first got up to the facility, it was like 5 or 6, and dinner closed at 8, and I pulled up, and all the coaches in there watching that C film. And I was like, "What up, y'all?" And they were looking at me like I was a crackhead. Man. They was looking at me.
With you, Pookie.
Coach Shaw, he was the only one that tried to keep it like cool. All of the coaches looking at me like, "Is this the same dude we recruited?"
Right.
Coach Shaw was like, he's like, "Come on, son." He's like, "What's up?" He's like, "Go and get you some food, bruh." He was just looking at me like, "Okay, all right." He was like, and I was like, "Man," but. So the coach's facility, the coach's offices is upstairs. I came, I parked my car in front of the facility. I walked up the stairs, probably 12 stairs. I was out of breath. I was literally like on the ground, like, what in the world? Dude's like, "Man, you straight?" I'm like, I don't know what's going on. It felt like somebody was stepping on my chest.
Yeah.
And so I had 5 days to condition for the game. And so I feel like that was a big factor in me not, feeling, 100. Coach Shaw was like, he's like, "We're going to figure it out whether you got to play 10, 12 yards." So he's like, "You going to play in this game."
Yeah.
So that's what I had to do.
Be on the field.
I thought I was straight. He had me running around. I was literally running hundreds, just every single day.
Get your wind up.
Just trying to get my wind up. And it didn't feel no different. I'm literally like, "Coach, like, I'm
gonna be hurting.
What's going on?"
COVID is real, people.
And then I got an old school coach. He don't believe in pulling cats out, Run 2 go routes,
go back in there.
Come on.
Yeah,
run it on
right.
back. You all right, baby? He on the sideline. So during COVID, there was no fans.
Right.
So that made it even worse.
You can hear him. You can hear everything.
Come on, CP, bring your butt back. Come on,
yeah.
CP. I'm like, "Coach, he just ran a go route. It was a run play."
Yeah.
We just ran, and they was doing that on purpose. I think
Of
somebody
course,
might
to
have
wear you
told
out,
them
yeah.
what was going down
Tipped
too.
them off, like, yo,
we
he
had
just
like,
came off COVID protocol.
Yeah, and then we're in the warm-ups before the game. I'm hella sweaty. I'm already, and I'm sweating off COVID. And
Yeah, that's
I'm
what
in
it
there
is.
like,
That's not a
dang,
regular
we
sweat.
doing T-step plant drills, just 2 breaks and stuff, and I'm over there like, man.
Drenched.
Like you done played the whole game.
Yeah, man, I was struggling, and so and
That's funny.
and I watch that film now, and I watch that. I tell my dad, and I tell people like I watch that game every other month, sometimes every 2 weeks, depending on the
look at
period,
it.
just to remind myself like where we came from,
Yeah.
and just to remind myself of them invigorating feelings that I felt in that game. I was so mad, because no one ever thinks that their first college. Everyone thinks that their first college experience or first NFL game is going to be like one for the books, one to remember in a good way.
No.
It defines you almost.
No.
Yeah, but
And so
not
that
you.
game, it was so humbling. The experience I think it shaped the way for the rest of my career. It made me a lot tougher. It gave me even more grit than I already had. It made me realize where I was. I'm like, because dang. And that's when I first realized, like, you got to be able to go as good as that you can go even when you're tired.
Absolutely.
And that takes mental toughness. And so after that experience, it made me realize I really wasn't even mentally tough yet.
Right.
Thought I was. But when I got tired, the truth showed.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm playing 12 yards off. I'm playing 12 yards off, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, oh, the running back running out there? Nah, I need to save my energy. He might run a route the next play. I'm not going to do that, And so it was, it was.
That's real.
It was a good experience because I watch it, all the time, just because I'm like, I want to remind myself the feelings that I felt. The next film study day, I'm sitting in there, grade sheets come out like 32%.
Out of 100.
32%. My coach graded hard. And I think I had 10 tackles, 11 tackles. That can be good. Not for a corner.
No.
That means
Not
that
for
you
that
give up all.
32%.
I had a TFL. It was, I think I gave up 1 touchdown, but it was like I just didn't feel it. And it was all stop routes and stuff like that, where it was like I'm just playing off and I'm just trying to survive. I'm tired, And so, but I watch it all the time, man, just to remind myself and just to kind of give myself reference, like especially if I have a game where I'm like, okay, you did your thing this game. I'll go back and I'll watch that and I'll leave the film room just so mad. I'm like, just to remind myself for the next workout. I'm like,
gotta stay hungry.
Always critique
this is where you was, CP. This is where you need to get. You still not there. Just to
Right.
put it all into perspective.
I have a question just listening to you talk, and obviously practice is where you get better.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And like I said, being in that environment, sometimes you're only as good as your competition.
Yeah.
I don't know what the situation with the receivers, the competition is like to get you better. Like, who are some of the guys on your squad, on the Utah Utes, that gives you that competition to prepare you for those, for those big guys in, upcoming games that you have? And then, like I said, every year, like I said, you may not have the competition on your team that you're going to be facing.
That's the truth.
So how do you stay engaged in that way? Because you could be like, oh, I'm nice, you know what I mean?
Yeah, facts.
And just go be lackadaisical through practice and just kind of just flow.
chill, yeah.
And then, in a
exposed.
game, somebody expose you.
Yeah.
How do you stay engaged?
Man, good question. So the biggest thing, I can think about my high school process. Like, my dad always told me, like, dominate the competition that's in front of you. When I was at La Habra, we could have been at a bigger program and things, but he was just like, if you're gonna be here, lions can't live with lambs. Dominate, slaughter.
That's why I don't live with him. I'm lying. I don't live with lambs.
Because he's the lamb.
You know what I mean? I know what you mean by that. Hey, that resonated with me.
All right.
You know what I mean?
You ain't eating lunch today.
Nah, man. So that's the biggest thing for me. Just like, even if I feel like, dang, okay, like I'm not feeling like I'm getting no work, or we doing a release drill, we doing one-on-ones, I'm like, I just want every rep with ease. This ain't good. Not that happens every day, but
of course,
playing DB, you can realize when your competition isn't matching.
Yeah.
My competition, I feel like the receivers that we have all have different attributes, and they all show really, really good things. We pride ourselves. We have a lot of bigger receivers, so I feel like that's why I was prepared in a lot of ways for certain guys, because we pride ourselves on being able to run the ball. So you need bigger receivers that can block and things. So whether they get a one throw a game, or one attempt a game or whatever, or none, like they're gonna be blocking a lot. So we got a lot of guys. I think about Devon Vele. I think about Solo Enos, and then in the slot we have we had Britton Covey. So from the moment that I got on campus, I was able to guard him. When I thought I was gonna be a nickel my first year, I was covering Britt, and that dude, I call him Uncle Covey because dude was old. He played, like, just to put it on. I was in elementary school. My dad, came in the room one night, was super excited. Or one day they were playing against SC. He had a breakout game as a freshman. This was about 7 years ago.
Golly.
And so his situation was in Utah. It's
Mormon. Right? He went on his trip.
Yeah, he played.
On a
I was in elementary. I wasn't really watching, college like that. I was watching
baby,
it,
literally.
But I literally didn't understand it like that. And I remember, my dad would always come in the room and, explain like, dang, like this guy's playing. Y'all should come in here and watch it. Me and my brother being there playing the Wii or playing the game and all of that stuff. And
I've been telling my son the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, if you're trying to be a receiver,
Watch receivers.
Watch some of these D1 schools. And I'm not being biased, but I am in a way. Watch those Alabama receivers, because those are the receivers that are already prepared for the next level.
Facts.
Like, and their coaches, the things that coaches should be teaching kids, and then it should be sticking with the receivers.
Don't.
Come back to the ball. Don't, like, stop routes. Curl routes.
Don't
you know
just
what I
sit
mean?
there. That's a
Yeah,
pick.
don't just sit there. Still, even if the ball is not thrown, come back to the ball, because if you stand there,
Don't tell nobody in Pac-12 this, though. Let them
know that.
I
Let
got
them
a lot of
leave.
stop route picks now.
right? And that's what I'm saying. I'm like, learn, and like I said, learn good habits.
Keep learning.
That's one of the main things that you should learn is, as a receiver, and then even as a coach, teaching those guys.
Yep.
Getting your depth, coming back to the ball, understanding what the defensive backs are wanting to do. Because, like I said, they want you to just be lazy and not come back, because that's either going to be a pick six, or it's going to be a tip pass that ends up into an interception, or, like I said, PBU.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Already.
Yeah,
So-
speaking of that, who was the toughest corner that you went up against?
Early on in my career, it's kind of like a situation like you were just explaining about. You may not know these guys, but you're probably not going to know this defensive back. But if you are, it's Aeneas Williams that played with the St. Louis Rams at the time.
And then the Arizona Cardinals.
Right, and I say that because he was a bigger body. He was about the same size as I was. You're build, but he was
thick. Yeah,
Right.
He was like 6
Like
foot.
Xavier
2.
Rhodes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably not as tall
Not
as
as
Xavier
tall.
Rhodes, but yes, the
Right.
thickness.
So for me, I had to, like I said, start to understand what my weaknesses were. Like physically, I was stronger than a lot of guys, but I didn't have no quick feet. You know what I mean? I didn't have the hands, none of that stuff. So I had to stay after practice, because in practice, some of the DBs, they knew off coverage, I was beating them all day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they saw that I struggled with
the
press,
press,
bump and run. So it was a constant thing. And then, like, if you talk about going to film study, so we go through every day. You do one-on-one drills.
Yeah.
So after practice, we watch the one-on-ones. It wasn't that exciting for me because I'm getting hemmed
beat.
up. So the
Getting
coach
cursed out by the coach.
Right, he'll run the film, like, showing my route. I'm getting jammed up, or it's taking me too long to get off the release and get into my route.
Yeah.
And it got to a point to where he would just go to the next receiver. For me, and I'm watching everybody else get off in practice. You know what I mean? So it was.
It's what you
humbling.
needed, though. Right. It's what you needed.
Right, it was
at the
humbling in a
moment.
sense, and I'm like, I got to get better.
Yeah.
How can I get better? So we had a martial arts guy that was on our squad, and that worked with the team. And so every day after practice, I just kind of worked with my hand, started doing little lateral drills, things like that, work with my feet. They kind of, like I said, I wanted to get shifty, you know what I mean? Because like I said, physically, yeah, I could just bulldoze through a guy, but I can't.
Do that all
release
the time.
Yeah, that release is not going to work every time.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I know that there was some smart guys. Like, dude, I had safeties. Like, it was like a field day. When we do one-on-ones,
like,
I had
I got
safeties-
him.
Yeah, I had safeties coming up, one
I got that guy.
I had Merton Hanks. Merton Hank was about as skinny as that pole right there.
Locking
he came
you
up
up.
trying to lock me up. Tim McDonough, who was at the end of his career, who played
The
safety.
4-7.
Bro,
Locking
he
you
came up. Everybody want some of the action, like new girl in town. Like everybody wants.
Oh yeah, I can get some good film on
Right.
him.
That
was a good
bro.
today.
And those were humbling moments, and it made me want to get better. But like I said, I wasn't highly touted. You know, I wasn't a 4 or 5 star. You know, kid coming out of college. I mean, even high school, going in the
stars
college.
back then.
You know what I mean? So, man, like I said, just to hear, you know, your growth, your path, and where you're on the trajectory of where you are. Trust me, man, you're gonna blow teams away. I get if they once they see this show,
Draft character.
they're gonna be blown away. I guarantee they're gonna probably take some clips from Getcha Popcorn Ready podcast
Well,
with
should.
T.O. and Hatch. I'm guaranteeing you.
should.
And this is teaching tape
Yes, for a lot of
for
young.
a lot of kids, bro.
Yes.
Like, man, be proud of yourself, of where you are right now and where you're going. Be proud. I'm proud. I'm proud of your dad, your mom, and like I said, your brothers and sisters who have someone to look up to. Because, bro, you're setting an example not only for them, but you're setting an example for a lot of kids out there, man, to be on top of their game. And just like you said, you know that, like, yeah, you want a overnight success. Yeah. But you had that foundation with your mom, with your family, and I that's what you're big on. Like I said, I've heard it so many times, and that's why I wanted you to really share with us, you know, and the audience, like what your family means to you, your dad. And like I said, I'm proud of your dad. I just met him. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Just with what he's instilled in you, man. So I know. We wish you nothing but the very best. Like I said, I'm excited for the draft next year.
We gotta play the season first. Gotta play the season first.
I am. I'm gonna check some games out.
See this Florida game.
Don't be surprised if I show up. I show up in Utah. You know what I mean?
I gotta get you some gear.
Oh yeah.
As long as it ain't cold.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yes,
speaking
early
of,
in the season, I don't do cold.
Speaking of Aeneas Williams, right, one of the Hall of Fame corners, one of the best
Hall of
corners
Fame
ever play, right? So before you get out of here, I want you to give us your top 5 best corners you think, like from your perspective. Again, they don't have to be Pro Bowlers or Hall of Famers, just your perspective. Who's your top 5 corners of all time?
Not to cut you off, me already knowing what this guy, his study habits,
you know
this
a couple?
dude, he gonna go all
Like
the way
back
back
to Lester Hayes or something?
What? Jack Tatum. I guarantee this dude studied Jack Tatum.
Yeah.
And I don't even know who he is, but I know the name.
You know the name?
Yeah.
He probably
No, he ain't
against
going that far.
dog.
Let me see. Let me see
What?
your top
Top
5
5?
all time.
I know. I know.
You can't be wrong. It's your professional
Right,
opinion.
yeah.
I'd be crazy not to say Revis number 1 because of his
Okay.
similarities and how I've tried to model my game.
There you go.
Revis, I gotta go Ram. I gotta go
Ramsey,
Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey,
I gotta
okay,
go Jay
too.
Ramsey. And man, not a lot of people gonna mention this dude, but I'm going Kenny Moore, number 3.
Yeah, okay.
Just because of his ability to play
Kenny
inside,
Moore?
outside.
Kenny Moore?
Inside and outside.
Inside, outside, yeah. Kenny Moore, he's a slot corner.
More of a nickel guy.
Okay, yeah.
But his ability to dominate, I've seen him on the outside too. Now he was one of the best corners on the outside, but he also played, you know, the best receiver in games when the guy was.
he
That's
goes
what
in
I
nickel.
aspire to
This
do.
is my camera right here.
It is
Bill
now.
Kuiper, your job is on the line, sir.
Why wouldn't they talk about dude now?
Okay, so that's 3.
I go Lattimore. I go Marshawn.
Marshawn
Marshawn
Lattimore,
Lattimore.
yeah.
I think
4.
he's one of the ones that I feel like I've studied a lot just because he was at
Ohio State
Ohio
when
State.
you committed,
yeah, and so I studied a lot of him. And then just in terms of taking the ball, I'm not gonna say old dude that just popped on the horizon this year, Diggs, but I am gonna say Xavier Howard.
Okay,
Xavier
yeah,
Howard.
from the
I go with
Dolphins,
him
yeah.
just because of his ability to take the ball. You remember the season where he had 10 picks?
Yes.
That was one of my goals for this season. I want to have interceptions, and more interceptions because everybody, you know,
Isn't
everybody
it
can take the
crazy?
ball.
Paid off
You
the
have,
interception.
like, mentioning the 10 picks, and I remember, like I said, I don't really know him personally, but like I said, it's some guys, like, you can't help but to hear these guys' name because every weekend it's like This guy is always getting a pick. It's a fumble recovery.
Yeah.
It's always something unique about guys that
You
are
have to
always
put it out there.
but they're always around the ball.
You have to live it.
And they're always around the ball. Like, yo, like I can't remember the guy's name, but when I was in Buffalo, he was a defensive back or safety or whatever. But it was like week after week. It was either a pick.
It's like Peanut Tillman. Like he's gonna always punch
it
it
was
out.
always
Find a
something.
way.
He
Find a
was
way. Go find a way.
I think
You
it
guys
was
remember
Jerry's
Rod
Bird.
Wilson?
I think it was
Bird.
Jerry's Bird.
And he went to the Titans.
Yeah,
I know you're talking
when I
about,
was with Buffalo, dude, he went a stretch of weeks, man,
Getting
where
turnovers.
it was like he was intercepting the ball. He was
Fumble recovery, a forced fumble.
It was a
Some
tip.
guys got a knack for the ball.
Yeah, it was
absolutely.
like dude,
Always
it's
around the
so
ball.
crazy, man. That it's so unique that some guys have a gift and just a unique talent and innate ability to really just be around the ball at the right time.
Especially
you
on
You
know?
guys remember Rod Wilson?
Of course.
Yeah, bro, I
one of
played
the best
Rod
ever.
later on in
Wow,
my career.
yeah. I used to study him.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Met him at a Hall of Fame camp, and then from then on, I was like just studying. I'm like, wow, this is one of the greats. Like,
One of the
he's
best ever.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So I used to study him as well. He's honorary mention. I could probably put him above, like, of course, like 3 or 4 of the corners on my in my
You know, you
list.
just-
But I'm just new, and I got to go with the guys that I'm seeing right now.
That's all right. Hey, that's all right.
You mentioned
You're
prime
allowed.
time.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't.
He said you didn't mention Deion Sanders, but it
mention
don't.
Deion
It's his
Sanders.
list. It's his list.
I get that, but
It's his list.
He's the
strikes
greatest.
me as a historian of the game.
That don't mean
So
that's
this-
not his list.
I
though.
can give you some reasoning now.
Okay,
Like,
I'll break it down.
prime. Right, that was some prime antics right there.
That's what it was.
I met him, so I was, you know, I
You
met
went
him
to
and
the
everything.
camp, right.
So I think he's one of the greatest athletes of all time. You know,
Yeah,
just in
I got
terms of his ability to do everything, one of the fastest. But I've studied his film in detail. I think some of the technical things, some of the things that he
It
did,
was very unorthodox.
you know,
for
it
a
was just
corner.
like only Prime could do it, and he would say that.
Yes.
That's what Prime do, you know,
Yes.
and only he could do certain things. And so, with me being one of the guys that's super technical and super into the details of the game and understanding technique and stuff, studying some of that film and studying some of the things that the lack thereof, like the tackling and things
That's
like
a
that.
great
I'm like,
answer.
you know, that's you know.
I respect that.
That's
You
a great
know,
answer.
Yeah,
That's a great answer.
That boy,
But overall, like
this
if
boy's
you,
a lawyer too. Huh?
but now,
Law school.
But now, if we had to, you know, if the question was framed of like, if we have to, you know, choose a corner to go guard this guy, you know, over
Then
the
it's a
course
whole
of the game,
different
It's a
answer.
whole different. He would be in that 5 because dang, Prime might take the ball twice now if they try him.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
See, and that's how I think about the whole basketball debate with MJ, LeBron, and Kobe. And it's MJ, Kobe, and then LeBron
Oh,
for me.
nah, that's gonna start an argument with me.
Yeah, well,
What?
I mean, it's not
But
even
I'm Kobe.
no, it's not even an
No,
argument.
No, it's MJ,
It's
Kobe.
not even an argument.
MJ,
It's not
Kobe,
even
and
an
then LeBron.
argument.
But to your
not an
point,
argument.
I think the same way. When you talk about Deion being like one of the greatest athletes,
LeBron's one
That's-
of the
that's
The
how-
greatest, yeah.
athletes.
I put
That's
him
how-
in a whole nother.
Yeah, exactly.
facts.
That's how I see LeBron. And people
But as
don't
basketball?
understand that, but they feel like, yo, yeah, like their basketball IQ, like he has that.
Yeah.
But like you said, when you talk about like Deion, it's like, yo, you don't want to try this guy.
That's real.
You don't want to try Mike.
You
or
don't want
Kobe.
to try Mike, and you don't want to try Kobe.
Facts, because if you get him into that, then now they're gonna take it to the extreme. And
Come
now,
on.
now it's a whole. But
Come
I feel
on,
like
boy.
Boy, but hey,
Yes.
LeBron is a great athlete now, but yeah, there's
Yeah.
certain things up top that Kobe and Kobe
MJ.
and MJ, it was just way different.
Yeah,
way
already.
different. The mental toughness that
Yeah.
you know, love LeBron, but he's a freak athlete and he's probably the freakiest of
Yeah,
all time.
exactly.
But
That is-
certain things I didn't think he had the same killer instinct as Kobe.
There you go.
The ability, yeah, nah,
There
all
you
of that.
go.
Nah, we on the
You
same
see it.
page.
You see it how we
Yeah,
see it.
easy.
That's how we see it.
That's how we do it on Get Your Popcorn Ready. When you think it, we gonna say it.
Already. We appreciate you coming out, man.
Same.
Let everybody know where they can find you on social media.
Man, appreciate y'all having me. Y'all can find
sir.
me on social media, Clark Phillips 21,
Oh, I'm
Instagram
finna go
and
right
Twitter.
now. I'm going right now.
I would go there, but my
Clark
IG just got
Phillips.
hacked, so I can't go
Clark
on my IG
Phillips
right now.
21.
You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? There it is. See y'all next week. Get your Popcorn Ready podcast. Clark
That
Phillips
two L's?
the third.
Yeah.
Holla. Peace.